What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. Today we're doing a bit of a discussion video on the recently buffed 16 Augment mods that were in basically the Garuda rework update. I'm not sure what the patch notes were for that, but we went over all of them on the channel, just briefly gave a description of them. And the unfortunate thing is that after, looking at all these augments, they are pretty much all super underwhelming, and they were underwhelming before they were buffed in the first place. So I kind of just want to go over what is going on here. How is this acceptable in 2022 Warframe? And honestly, they are planning to buff more of these augments this year. I just kind of want to give my opinion on what I think would be more appropriate for these augment buffs and changes. Because as far as I'm concerned, nearly every single augment in this balance pass thing is just completely garbage. Not even worth it. After the buffs, they're not worth it. There's one or two that are pretty cool, potentially interesting. But yeah, I also have a bit of a speculation for you on maybe explaining what happened here. Maybe they were supposed to be stronger than they actually came out being. So yeah, before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to the channel, all that stuff. Make sure you check the live stream channel as well, because we do live stream quite often over on the other platforms. So the idea for this video, like I said, is going over the buffed, change, and all that. Those were changed. So if you watched the previous video on the patch notes, I went over all of them. We're not going to go over every single augment mod just for the purposes of time, but just a quick run through of what they changed. They basically were doing this in alphabetical order. Ash got some change, Atlas got some change, Baroque, and all the way to L, which is, I think, Limbo. And they haven't finished all the Limbo ones yet. But when we start going over these, honestly, whoever coded this stuff, it was just a waste of your time. You probably could have done literally anything. I feel like taking a dump at work would have been more useful than these augment buffs, honestly. I'm not even kidding. These augment changes are terrible. Let's go over one of the ones that is just an example, It's called Desiccation's Curse for Inaros. We got the old version on the left, which was, so Desiccation is Inaros' first ability, basically pocket sand, if you know what that ability is. Enemy is blinded, you can do finishers on them and stuff like that. Desiccation's Curse is going to make it where an enemy is killed by a finisher while you are using this augment, will become a Sand Soldier. It used to be 75% chance to create the Sand Soldier, now it's 100% chance. And additionally, these Sand Soldiers have had their damage doubled. Let's just start right now. If you want to make this useful, you need to put a 0 next to that too, because these Sand Soldiers are worthless. They are literally so bad. I'm going to show you how bad these Sand Soldiers are in the Simulacrum really quick. They find a way to nerf our weapons. Let's just take a quick look at the Super Vandal and the Super. This will make more sense in a second here. So, Super Vandal, 300 round magazine, okay? The enemies also have Supras in this game. I don't know if you've noticed that. We've got 20 Corpus Text level 185. These enemies actually do have very high DPS as far as enemies are concerned. I mean, Supras are full auto assault rifles. So we're going to use Desiccation's Curse. Hopefully we're on the right build on this guy right here. So I'm going to kill him with a finisher. He's dead. A Sand Soldier has appeared. As you can see, even with the damage buff, he cannot break the shield before reloading. But that's the thing. This guy has a 300 round magazine. Why is he reloading after 20 bullets? Also, he can't even break an enemy's shield. Just imagine if this enemy had armor. You would literally never... And the Sand Soldier is already dead. So this is basically what I'm saying. You get this result right here and multiply it by 16. That's pretty much all the augment mods that got buffed this balance pass, or whatever you want to call it. So that's just one example, like I said. We've got other ones too, but like I said, you probably need to multiply that by to 20 or 5 or 10 or something like that, because it's worthless trash right now. So that's one thing I feel like these are changes that should have been made in 2014 Warframe. They're still figuring out how the game feels. I'm not sure what the player base. Oh, there's a player base killing enemies really fast, so they like to take their time with these enemies. Whatever. This feels like changes that were made for a game that was in its infancy. This game is 8 years old, and these developers that have been making this game have been doing it for the entire time. Some of them have. I think that something needs to change here. If you're planning on doing more of these augment mod changes later, that we'll go over that Hydroid one later. If you're thinking about making more of these augment changes later in the year, honestly, dude, hit up the design council. Hit up some, Warframe YouTubers, Twitch streamers, your little dedicated Warframe Teletubby cheerleader squad, whoever you want to go for. But apparently people designing this game don't know anything. This is worthless trash. Absolutely worthless. No one's talking about how these augments were buffed. It might as well have not happened. Like I said, you might as well have just gone to the bathroom at work, and that would have been just as useful as these augment changes. So now we're going to get into the speculation aspect of this, and we can briefly go over every augment and how I'd say maybe it could be potentially changed for the better in the future. So here's the speculation. Now, while we were waiting for these augments to come out, we wait a while for these updates in this game most of the time. There was a brief period of time that the augments that were being changed were actually linkable in-game. So when they were linkable in-game, we got to see some, before they were released, descriptions of what was going to happen. So for the purposes of this, let's go over the old, leaked, and new for Hydroid Title Impunity. This Title Impunity mod was linkable in-game for like a couple hours. They hotfixed it out. You couldn't do it anymore. So let's first look at the leaked one. Title Surge Augment clears status effects and grants 12 seconds of status immunity for yourself and allies that come in contact with it. This also removes Title Surge's energy cost. This is an augment for Hydroid, one of the worst frames in the game, absolutely no contest. He's one of the worst frames in the game, easily. They were going to make it where this augment removes the energy cost for his dash attack. It's like, this wouldn't make Hydroid good. Actually, if you made all 3 of the Hydroid augments that were buffed in this update, he would still not be good. You could honestly quadruple the stats on all of his abilities, he would still suck. Okay, let's get over that. But look what happened. The leaked version entirely removed the energy cost of his dash. But look what happened after that. The actual one that got into the game, the middle one, the new one, it will now reduce energy cost to 15. It's like they were actually the person who was designing these and buffing these wanted to actually make them good, but they were told no. That's going to make Hydroid too strong, which makes it even more ridiculous that these changes are so weak. We want the game to be fun, honestly. You look at Desiccation's Curse, hey, this could have been fun, but this is a stats problem one. This one has a stat problem. This one has a frame and functionality problem. So, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like these were sabotaged by another developer behind the scenes. Maybe someone in the balance department. I don't want to put any names on anything. I don't know who changed these, but I'm just saying that if I saw a augment that removes my energy cost for my dash ability, I'd be more interested in one that makes it just become 15. Like I said, that augment might as well, nearly every augment that got changed in this update could have just not even been fixed and changed. I am excited for the Ash one, and I will be getting a new Ash loadout and build video this week on the new Ash augment, because I actually really like it. But that's just because it just makes you have more crit chance while you're in Viz. That's just something that Ash is always doing. You're always in Viz as Ash, unless you're playing a not-in-Viz Ash build for some reason. So that's the thing, is like that one is actually, it feels like they made a good couple of decisions on some of these, and then the other ones are like, dude, I don't got time for, I gotta work on Daviri Paradox, I don't got time for this, can you just like, even like an intern, it feels like an intern was working on this or something, not a 8-year developer of this game. So it's like this one, increase crit chance while players are on stealth. Now I'm gonna ignore the fact that Smokescreen has the lowest duration of any invis in the entire game, and it could probably use some base buffs. But like, hey, that's actually pretty strong and useful. Then we move on to the next one. More range to hit multiple enemies with the Rumbler attack. This Rumbler is trash. Have you ever used a Rumbler before? They whiff their melees all the time, and just punching enemies at the Atlases as one is 100 times better, honestly. So you could have, taken a lunch break instead of this one. Baroque Endless Lullaby. Now, I've heard this one is actually somewhat okay just because it's currently bugged. It's always been bugged, apparently, where if you do a finisher on an enemy, it will re-trigger the lull, like his sleeping attack, for a duration. It's supposed to be the duration that's remaining, but with this augment, it's the full duration for some reason. So I'd say Ash, Smoke Shadow, and Baroque Endless Lullaby, the only ones that are actually, like, interesting. The buffs don't really matter. Furious Javelin, it's like, why are you casting Radial Javelin in the first place? Now, you can get crazy melee damage with this augment, but you were able to do that before, too. They just added 5% more melee damage per stack. So, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. I feel like these changes should have been made when the game was, like, in its infancy. Like, oh, yeah, I think, that guy's got too much health. Let's remove his health, reduce his health. Something like this. They need to put more effort into this. If they want us to actually care about this and maybe revitalize some passion for some of these less used frames, you need to actually put some effort into it. Whoever's doing this, maybe take them off what they're doing for the day, and maybe like, okay, you can actually buff Frost a little bit, because they completely skip over Frost too, by the way. And then that's the entire thing as well. Is why is it changed from what we saw in the leaked image to a massively downgraded version that we got in the live build? It really, really reeks to me of somebody just telling the person balancing these things, hey, that's too OP, make it weaker. Because how do we know the other ones weren't going to be actually good and then became trash on the live build? I don't know. That's kind of how I feel, guys. Let me know how you feel about this down below. It's like the entire update had two things. It had the Garuda rework, which is super cool, and then they also were saying, oh yeah, there's gonna be augment buffs too. The augment buffs part of the update has been completely just breeze over. No one cares about it. We've moved on because there's nothing there. If you're planning on wasting more time on the rest of the L through Z, maybe get a second opinion from someone that's not the guy that told you to nerf it in the first place, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Keep your eyes on the channel for all these new videos, and take it easy. Peace.